question, with a week to go to the midterm vote, is how far the Trump factor for and against will affect the end result. At the moment, the president's Republican Party controls, of course, both the House of Representatives and the Senate, giving him pretty free rein in all to enact his policies. But with voters next Wednesday electing all 435 members of the House and a third of the Senate, both are technically within reach of the Democrats, the House particularly so, especially when you consider a state like Texas as red a Republican state as there is, where the incumbent, Senator Ted Cruz, is facing a serious challenge.
It's auction day in Amarillo, and that means the earliest of starts. There's a long shift ahead for the men in charge of the livestock, but that's part of who they are and how they vote.
Seems like more hard-working people are Republicans, and to me, get up, go to work, make money. That's what you're supposed to do.
Inside the auction room, the cattle change hands at record speed. Trump's presidency may have given fright to some, but here, although you might not guess it to look at them, business is growing better by the day. For the ranchers here, that matters deeply. From their perspective at least, the president deserves a lot more praise.
You know, a lot of people don't like Trump, but I just wish people just let him do his job and see what he can do. And working people, they don't want everybody bickering and fighting over everything. They want to get something done.
The sense of a country split down the middle is felt just as strongly across party lines. Beto O'Rourke, the Democrat candidate for senator here, told me he's on a mission to change that.
It's been a really tough week for your country. How do you plan to put America back together?
I think Texas has a great opportunity to help bring this country together, make sure that those things of party, geography, race, religion, how many generations we're an American, that none of that defines us right now.
In one of the country's most high-profile election battles, this skateboarding liberal is now within striking distance of Senator Ted Cruz, one of the Republicans' biggest names.
Either going to be governed, literally, by our fears, by our hatred, by paranoia, or we will be known by our ambitions.
The Democrats haven't won a statewide election here for more than 2 decades, and what's really striking isn't just how many of them have turned out here, but also how strongly they believe that Beto O'Rourke can change things.
He's bringing hope. He's given us hope back. And that's something that we're losing right about now. We don't have that.
If he can connect us as an American or as a Texan and unite us in one goal, then I believe that we can change.
But change in this reddest of Republican states isn't for everyone. Texas shares its border with Mexico, and there are few bigger issues in this election than the caravan of migrants there, but heading here where they're determined to seek refuge.
Whether it's one person or 4,000, they can't just walk across the border. Otherwise, after a while, we become the Honduras. We become the Mexico where we can't take care of anybody.
But Amarillo has an important Hispanic community where the harshness of Trump's approach cuts deep. It's left this police officer feeling more like a criminal.
Even though I was born here, I'm put in this profile that what was said nationally from our president, that we're nothing but criminals, low lives, that we don't belong in this world or in this, United States.
There is no doubt her president has chosen a very different road for his country. What's less clear is whether the outcome of the midterms will force him to change direction. Rachel Younger, News at 10, Amarillo.
Yeah, look, this is a uniquely kind of vulnerable moment for the Jewish community. They feel deeply violated by what happened just a few days ago. And remember that even before this attack, just last year compared to 2016, there was a 57% rise in anti-Semitic attacks in the United States. But it's not just the Jewish community that feels vulnerable. I mean, immigrant groups, Hispanic Americans also have this sense of rising hate. It is driven undoubtedly in part by some of that inflammatory language emerging from the White House and by this kind of relentless election cycle that is such a feature of American politics. I mean, just in the last few days, we've had this incendiary language being used against the migrant caravan that's coming up through Mexico. Even today, Trump floated the provocative idea that foreigners born in the U.S. who currently get automatic American citizenship through the 14th Amendment, he is now suggesting that by executive order that might be stopped. So, as we said last night, Tom, the question really is going to be for voters next week. Do they endorse or reject Trump's approach to some of these very vexed issues, constitutional, cultural and political issues that so dominate American life at the moment.
OK, Robert, it will be a fascinating week. Thank you very much. There you are. And finally, for any opposition leader serious about getting into Downing Street, it is important to look prime ministerial. But when the Prime Minister herself keeps dancing, what is Jeremy Corbyn supposed to do? We should warn you that if you're of a sensitive disposition, you could find the following images disturbing. Nobody ever said that politics was for the cool crowd, but boy oh boy, this year has had its fair share of moments, and this latest is a corker. Here was the Labour leader at the Pride of Britain Awards last night, flossing. Yes, flossing.
I can't do it.
Seeking parallels and explanations for this great moment, many people on social media didn't have to look far. So as you head up to bed tonight, think about getting in that groove, baby. Everyone else is. I'll spare you my dancing.